Hey there, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley with you here. It is 10 o'clock on your Friday. We're working our way through the weekend here, and I've got some weather to let you know about. We're tracking the potential of some high winds. They haven't set up yet, and they're probably still several hours away, but they're on the way, and we're going to be seeing them pretty strongly throughout the day on Saturday. Not so much for Sunday. So we have kind of wind to talk about, cold weather to talk about. It might not be snowing or icing on this Saturday for a change, but it's still feeling like winter, and there will be an impact to you. So let's get going. We're going to talk about this here. Right now, we're tracking the radar, which has nothing on it. So let's look at the winds instead. Now, as of now, 10 o'clock hour, the observations coming in. Hey, we can handle this. Nothing wrong with that. Winds are at 5 to 10 miles per hour at the moment. Now, you might be noticing, though, they are moving in from the north. This is our wind direction now, basically coming in from the north and from the west. That is our current wind direction that changed earlier today. We had a front that slid on by us, and as that happened, we're going to continue to see it bring cooler and cooler air to the area. Now, the good news right now is that as of 10 o'clock, I don't really have much to report to you as far as wind gusts. The North Carolina mountains are starting to get a little breezy, 20 to 30 mile per hour gusts right now, but that's no big deal. That's not a problem. I just think that as the night goes on, we're going to start to see these rack up and move higher and higher for our area. We do have wind advisories across pretty much not just the Piedmont, but most of North Carolina. That's what that darker tan shade shows you on the map. It's a wind advisory, and it's through tomorrow evening. Now, the North Carolina mountains, they have high wind warnings. It'll be windier there than it will be here. They could have some wind gusts as high as 60 miles per hour. And what's interesting to know is if you look on the map, take a look at how far these extend. All the way up into New England, we have high wind warnings and high wind watches and wind advisories. So basically, most of the East Coast is going to be dealing with a wind event going into tomorrow. And there's good reason for it. We have high pressure and low pressure splitting us over the weekend. And we're going to be caught in the middle. And when that happens, you tend to get really high winds. So let's take a look here. This will be around 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. Notice we see some winds starting to peak right around 30 to 40 miles per hour. How about that in Lexington? Maybe a 47 mile per hour wind gust? We'll see if that happens. In any case, all of us should be very windy starting the day tomorrow in the morning. And this is typically not too much of enough wind to cause widespread power outages or anything like that. But you can get scattered or isolated power outages, just little bits here by there across the area. So that's enough for us to pay attention to this kind of wind, I think. And it'll last for a while as well. It's not just a couple of hours. It'll basically be, from the early morning through the early afternoon. And then we'll start to see some improvements. This will be around 5 o'clock tomorrow, still windy. Not quite as bad. And then going into tomorrow night, it gets less windy still. So that's the timeline. A little unusual for wind to be worse in the morning than it is in the afternoon, but that looks to be the case for tomorrow. We also have some pretty bad wind chills. Most of that has to do with the high winds, but it'll feel like the single digits. And so you've got to bundle up as well as taking that wind seriously. The wind chill throughout the day, you can see it's just not very good. And Sunday morning, it'll still be bad. It starts to improve Sunday afternoon, which if you had to pick a time to be outside this weekend, I think Sunday afternoon would probably be the most appetizing. High wind warning, though, or high wind watches, all these things, we've got a News 2 weather impact alert. All you need to know here is that the winds are going to be up 35 to 50 miles per hour. And so what should you do about that? Well, think about things that can blow around your yard. Maybe you've had problems with that in the past. Go ahead and secure those. You don't want them to kind of end up somewhere you don't want them to be. That's number one. Number two, probably a good idea to go ahead and charge up your devices. Never hurts. Don't be walking around with a 5% battery tomorrow. Not going to do you much good if you lose power. So let's go have them charged up. It's probably a good idea. Also, the wind chill. If you're out and about, having to go places, run errands, whatever you might be doing, you've got to bundle up. The wind is going to cut through you. That's just what we see when it comes to this kind of weather. And so preparing for that feels like temperature of about 0 to 10 degrees, it's a good idea. and I'd recommend it. Now, that's not the only weather that's going on this weekend. We had a little bit of snow that moved through our northern counties earlier today. Something we'll be watching later on tonight would be in the North Carolina mountains. There's not really much falling right now, but eventually they could start to see some snow for this evening. So they have winter alerts up that way. These are winter weather advisories for places like Boone, like Ashe County, like Avery County, all those spots. The forecast calls for anywhere from 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. So pretty impressive up that way. Let's show you what we see on our Futurecast model. No snow for us, obviously. It's a dry weekend around here, but our model's a little less impressed with the snow idea. A couple of inches could be happening in those higher elevations. So if you have friends and family up in the North Carolina high country this weekend, they're going to get a whole lot of wind. They'll get a little bit of snowfall as well, and it'll be bitterly cold. So every bit the winter scene, all the winter you can stand, basically, is how I would put it up that way. Now we can sneak a peek at what's going on there now. This is a live camera up in Boone. We're looking on King Street. Doesn't look to be too much accumulation, but the roofs are white. So they have had a little bit of snowfall. Looks like they're in a gap in the action right now. Although if you look very, very closely at some of the street lights, right about here, it is still snowing at least lightly. Not much, but it is coming down. So again, that's kind of what's going on up in the high country this evening, and throughout the weekend, they will continue to watch the potential for some snow. Let me show you our weekend forecast. It's very cold. Pretty much the whole time is very cold. So I see us in the 30s tomorrow for the best of the day, probably around 33. After that, we'll be cold on Sunday as well. I did add a small chance of some late day snowflakes on Sunday. And the reason I did that is we're starting to see some signs in the models here. You see it right there? A couple snow showers are possible. And this would even be in the late morning through the early afternoon. A little band of snow could set up. This is in a couple different models now, which leads me to think it's going to happen. So just don't be shocked if there's some scattered snow on your Super Bowl Sunday. Not a problem, not a big deal, but it is something I want you to know about. So we'll keep you posted. 7-day forecast. Would you like a warm-up? Some people, they would love one. Others, maybe not so much. But here you go. 30s both days this weekend, 40s on Monday, and the warm-up is basically just a couple of days. It doesn't last forever, but we will be in the upper 50s to low 60s Tuesday and Wednesday with a chance for some rain going into next week. We'll be back coming up on News 2 at 11 o'clock with all the updates you need for your news and weather as you head on into the weekend. We'll see you then.